Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how I make pork chops. How I make them on the grill especially, because that's my favorite way to cook is on a grill. That's why I love summertime. I can't wait for summer every year because I love grilling out and sipping a beer while I'm grilling. So anyway, pork chops. So the first thing you do, while you're at the grocery store and you're looking for your pork chops, you can select bone in or no bone in your pork chops. If the butcher at your grocery store will do so, ask him to slice your pork chops about 1 inch thick. Now I can show you right here the pork chops that I'm working with today. They're sliced about 1 inch thick, as you can see, and they're sitting in this water. Actually, it's salt water, it's a brine. And the reason we're soaking them in a brine is because it adds a wonderful flavor when you cook them, actually. The salt water soaks in, it permeates the flesh of the pork chop, and it gives it a wonderful flavor. So that's why we use a brine. And to test your brine, just make sure it tastes like seawater. That's how you know it's ready to put your pork chops in. So, and as you can see here, I've got 5 of them. And so while we're waiting, because these are actually still not thawed out yet quite, they're still a little bit frozen on the inside. While we're waiting, we're going to do some other things to get ready for grilling tonight. We're going to make a baste, I guess you could call it, that consists of olive oil, black pepper, garlic powder, fine herbs, and paprika. Now what you're going to do with this is while you're grilling, you're going to want to brush it onto the pork chops while you're grilling them. And you're going to want to brush each side of each pork chop twice, once with each turn of the chop. And then you'll notice here I've got a spoon laying here. What I like to do is I like to put 2 spoonfuls each of each seasoning into the olive oil that I have here. Now I like to use a vessel that's got a handle on it. It gives me more security. It helps me feel as though I'm not going to drop what I'm working with. So even though my grill has a little like a side shelf thing, I still like to use a vessel that's got a nice handle on it. So some people use a measuring cup, which is also recommended. It's glass, however. So you don't want to use too much olive oil. You just want to use enough to where you'll be able to baste or brush 20 times on your pork chops. So I think I've got plenty. So I'm going to blend these in. Like I said, 2 tablespoons is what I use of each of these. And you don't need to add any salt. So because you're soaking it in the brine, remember? So no salt. So when you go to get your garlic powder, make sure it's actual garlic powder, not garlic salt. Otherwise, your pork chops will be too powerfully salty and they'll be nasty. They'll be very unpleasant to eat, no one will want to eat them. So, just remember that. There's a difference between garlic powder and garlic salt. So I'm going to mix my baste and I'll get back with you guys shortly. Okay, not bad. So, now that you've seen me make the baste and you've heard me talk about the pork chops a little bit, one thing we need to talk about is your grill, or my grill rather. And if you have a charcoal grill at home, then hopefully you'll follow along. If you have not ever used a charcoal grill before, then pay attention, because this is information that will be very beneficial to you. So let's head outside and let's talk about the grill. Alright, time to talk about the grill. So as you can see here, we have the best of both worlds. We have a charcoal grill as well as a gas grill, which uses a propane bottle as seen down here. So, but we're going to use a charcoal grill tonight just because it adds that rich smoky flavor to the meat, which I really love. So this charcoal grill is getting a little on its last leg. It does need replacing quite soon actually, but we can still use it, so we're going to. So the first thing you want to do with your charcoal grill is clean out any ashes and coal from the previous use. And make sure you dispose of them properly, meaning you probably want to put them in a plastic baggie before you put them in the trash can. You don't need that much fresh coal, really. A lot of people make the mistake of using way too much coal in their charcoal grill. You really don't need that much. And the kind of coal that I'm using actually is the Instant Light kind. It really doesn't work that well, unfortunately, so I do have to use lighter fluid. So, but also you don't need that much of. So anyway, but also you want to take your grill brush, and make sure you clean the grate really good before you use your grill. So it's not time to light the grill yet or anything like that. I just wanted to show you guys the proper way to get your setup going and get started at first before it's time to set up to light. So there we go. Back to pork chops. So anyway, you want to check your pork chops periodically, and once they're thawed, you want to take them out of the brine and place them in a dish. And you can, if you want to, you can leave them sitting out, or you can stick them in the refrigerator. Okay, the time is now 5:30, and we want to eat between about 6 o'clock and 6:15 is usually when we sit down to the table. Closer to 6:15. So anyway, you gotta account for the fact that it's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes for the pork chops to cook, and it's going to take at least 10 to 15 minutes for the lighter fluid to cook off of the to burn off of the coals, because if you can't just put the chops right on the grill after you light the charcoals, because the lighter fluid actually is toxic, and you have to let it burn off before you actually put the food on the grill after you light the grill. So you got to account for the time and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and light the grill, and I'm going to show you guys how to apply the lighter fluid. So you want to take the grate off like I've done. Your coals exposed. Open up your lighter fluid. And just real simple. Just zigzag back and forth a couple of times. And there you go. You don't have to like drench the whole thing, just, you know, enough. Except I did miss this corner down here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get the edges really good. There we go. And you can see it kind of soaking in. Okay, now you strike on box matches. You know, these are basic matches. When you light your match, you basically just kind of throw it in there, but you want to put your grate back on first, otherwise you're going to have a real hell of a time putting the grate back on once the fire is going, because it's going to be hot and it's going to be miserable. You're going to burn yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and put the grate back on. And of course this stuff does make your fingers quite nasty, but that's okay. So there you go. So since I don't have anyone else here to hold the camera while I light the fire, I'm going to have to turn the camera off while I do it. So I'll get back with you guys in just a few minutes. You just want to let it burn off, and usually it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, but you can let it go a whole lot longer if you want. Alright, so we've got the pork chops on the grill. Now, you're going to want your pork chops to sit on the grill for 10 minutes on each side. But what you want to do is, after 5 minutes, is lift it up with the tongs and change the angle so that the grill marks crisscross each other. For a second, I'm going to talk about, though, your basting brush. This basting brush is ideal for using because it's got a nice long handle and it's angled. As you can see, it does make things a whole lot easier. And when you go to baste your pork chops, you want to stir your concoction so you get plenty of the seasoning on the end of the brush. So, but the long handle lends itself well to this because it keeps your hand farther away from the heat while you baste your pork chops. And the tongs I'm using have a nice long handle as well for the same reason. Just a really helpful tidbit. Don't use short-handled tongs. They're useless and you will end up being very uncomfortable. So, in a nutshell, that's the first few minutes of grilling pork chops. So the pork chops have been turned and they've been basted accordingly. And you can see they've got a nice pattern of grill marks on them. And there's plenty of smoke. That is due to the oil from the baste, actually. As it falls down into the coals, actually it creates the smoke. In case you're wondering where that comes from. So I'll get back to you when they're done.